Hey everybody, my name is Paul Weston Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We're here on a beautiful Victory Monday, of course. We got the merch on. It is a beautiful Victory Monday for the 7-4 New York Jets. We're here every single Monday with a special guest. His name is Will Parkinson. He is the host of the Turn on the Jets podcast. He joins me every Monday here on the show. No matter where you're watching, show your support, everybody. Like the video, hit subscribe down below. That's for free. To do so. Again, we're streaming live right now on our Heavy on Jets Facebook page, my YouTube account, youtube.com/boygreen25, and of course on the Twitter sphere as well. Let's bring him in now, Mr. Will Parkinson, the Golden Boy, the Golden Wonder. How are we, my friend?
I'm good. It's Victory Mondays are always nice. A lot nicer than the post-Patriots game, shows and podcasts.
Oh, that's for sure. And thankfully, with all the hubbub, New England wins, they sweep the Jets. Fans are like, the season's over. Well, guess what? Right now, if the season ended, the Jets would once again be in the playoffs, thanks to them losing to the Vikings. And, of course, the Jets handling business against the Chicago Bears. So the world continues to spin. There's a lot of action to be had, and I assume a lot more emotional roller coasters to go here, Will. I guess let's go right off the top and share the viral comment of one head coach, Robert Saleh, which is why we do our show after every Robert Saleh press conference on a Monday. And I want to play this so we could try to kind of walk through the comment by Robert Saleh that is, again, getting a lot of hubbub on social media. And I'm going to play it for you guys here. It's a 30-second clip. I have another one that I haven't tweeted out yet, but this one is probably the most important of the Robert Saleh clips to get out there. We'll bring it up for you guys, and then we'll get Will Parkinson's take, our Jets insider here. Here's Robert Saleh, both question and answer on the Zach Wilson, Mike White situation. Here we go.
Has Mike's performance caused you to perhaps reconsider the quarterback plan that you outlined for us on Wednesday, the one where you said, you fully intend to get Zach back on the field this year?
No, it's like I said, we're going to go week to week. There's things that we'd love to see Zach accomplish over the course of, we'll call it a reset, but and this is Mike White's opportunity. That doesn't change. So Mike's got an opportunity to go stack another great day up this week, and when we feel like Zach is ready to roll, he's going to roll.
And that right there, Mr. Will Parkinson, when we feel like Zach Wilson is ready to roll, he will roll. And I have to just throw it immediately to you. I've got some thoughts. I will share some of those. But immediately your thoughts on hearing that, because fans are losing their gosh darn minds right now on social media. That was Robert Saleh just a few minutes ago. Your thoughts?
So I think this is we've seen Robert Saleh learn a lot this year from previous. He'll make a mistake. He'll learn from it, right? The glaring mistake with the Mekhi Becton injury. You saw with the Zach injury, they kind of made a mistake in the beginning, but the timeline got leaked, and then they kind of got out ahead of it, said he's not coming back until the Steelers game, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Then Saleh kind of made a mistake and said Zach will be the starter no matter what, unless injury, which probably – I know he was trying to give Zach a boost of confidence, but it also at the same time kind of put yourself in a dicey situation. Obviously, you can't expect Zach to play that poorly, but he did. And then obviously you have to bench him, and then it's like, you have to kind of backtrack a little bit. So
right.
For me, I think this is very similar to last year in some senses, where it's Mike White keeps playing well. He'll be the starter. It's his job. Not ruling out Zach, that Mike White is the starter no matter what, which is smart, and then also not ruling out Zach for the rest of the year. That said, I would be very surprised if Zach Wilson plays again this year. Because if Mike White's playing well, which he played yesterday, and by well, I mean he played better in any game Zach's had in his entire career, I think it's fair to say, statistically.
Sure.
I'm not sure what else to tell anyone. Bears are not. If the Jets are winning, they're not going to bench their quarterback, right? So the only thing that would happen where Zach would probably come back in is if, I think Connor Hughes pointed this out, if I'm not mistaken, could have been the other Connor, but I think he said something in the ocean of, this is for the scenario where Mike White does terrible against Vikings, terrible against the Bills, and they feel like Zach's ready to come back in to soft spots in Detroit and Jacksonville. Maybe that's the opportunity. If they win either of these next two games, Mike White's playing the rest of the year, because that means they're going to be 8-5 going into 8-5 going into Jacksonville.
That is correct.
To Jacksonville, Detroit at home, which means they're realistically 10-5. Yeah. You're going to bench now all of a sudden the guy that's 4-1 with the lightning in a bottle and better mechanics and all this. That's not going to happen. So this week's huge, I think, for Mike White. And I think I get why Saleh said what he said. I think he's trying to protect Zach. You have to remember these guys are all assets. All of that Yip stuff started coming out, which a lot of people knew about. Everyone's heard a lot of the same things. You know people. I know people we heard all that stuff. But you kind of swallow that stuff when he's your quarterback. When you're trying to maintain value, God forbid down the line you want to move on from him. The Jets leaked a bunch of stuff that Sam, it was all Adam Gase's fault and stuff. And guess what? They got a second-round pick for Sam because someone bought it. That's the way the NFL works. So, long story short, I get why Saleh said what he said. I don't really buy it. I think Mike White's the starter for the rest of the year. Look the way the guys responded to him. It's really hard. Unless he implodes badly, then I think you'll see Mike White be the Jets starter the rest of the year.
We're in complete alignment, especially after this Bears game, which, again, I assumed whoever, whether it was Mike White, Joe Flacco, Zach Wilson, or Chris Trevler, I thought whoever was going to be playing quarterback was going to ball out against the Bears, and thus making that change made it very difficult to really ever go back to Zach, at least for this year, because these are the next two games. You have at Minnesota, at Buffalo. If Mike White wins one, or God forbid both, it's over. And I don't even think he needs that. If he just looks really good, it's going to be hard to then turn around and say, well, you know what, Zach Wilson. So I think Robert Saleh, quite frankly, has just learned a few tricks. Earlier in the year, he's really blown several press conferences saying things he shouldn't have and then got caught with his foot in his mouth. In this particular case, he is propping up Zach Wilson, giving him the meat at the end of the treadmill to keep running. Hey, here's some motivation. Hey, you can come back and get it. And remember, for those who did not hear, Zach Wilson, during his plea to the team where he apologized, he said, guys, he told his teammates, I'm going to earn my job back, and I'm going to prove it to all you guys that was all nonsense. So, again, that's the proper motivation for Zach, and also the proper motivation for Mike White. Hey, man, your job is not guaranteed, especially after what happened last year, the great Bengals game and then the Bills implosion. Mike White said he's learned a lot from that Bills implosion. Well, we will see, because he will likely get that opportunity no matter what. The way he plays against Minnesota, he'll have a longer leash than that, I would imagine. So you have Minnesota-Buffalo. If he plays well and wins one or both of those games, man, this is a Mike White's team for the rest of this thing, and I can't believe I would even think about all of that sort of jazz here at the beginning of all this. So it just kind of goes to show you how all of this is kind of transformed. So Mike White's team. So let me ask you, Will, talk about timing. Mike White is a free agent after this year, unrestricted. Last year, he was a restricted free agent. This year, unrestricted. Let's just play it out here. Let's say the Jets go to the playoffs, which, by the way, I think there's a very good chance that the Jets are in the playoffs. I said it on one of our shows last week, like my confidence level is 75, 80%, maybe even higher, that they're going to make the playoffs. Now, what they do is up to them, I guess, but I feel that confident looking at the schedule. If they go to the playoffs and let's just say either compete in the wild card or win a game in the playoffs, what does the bag look like for Mike White? Does he get the bag? Did the Jets not let him leave out of the building? Because Zach Wilson is the only quarterback under contract for the Jets next year at this current moment.
Yeah, so I was on Jake Asman's show earlier, and he asked me a similar question. I don't know contract-wise what that would look like. I guess it's kind of hard to tell, but maybe it's like what Taylor Heineke kind of type of situation where the Commanders brought him back, but obviously he got that deal before 2021 after that magical playoff game against the Bucs where he played really well. Maybe it's something like that, but that was only 2 for $5 million. So obviously the cap's jumped since then. That was the COVID year. The cap had dropped the whole 9 yards, but maybe it's, I don't know, maybe he gets good backup money. Look, if Mike White goes on a 6-game run here and he puts up similar numbers to the way he's been playing, sure, we're having a different conversation. He's going to throw for 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns in 7 starts, and the Jets are probably 12-5 and potentially winning the division. So there's a lot there, right? But I think Mike White right now is kind of competing in a sense with Zach, where like I've been pretty out vocal. I think that odds are next year they bring in a Carr, Garoppolo, even maybe to a lesser extent of a Goff or someone in that level. But Mike White's maybe competing. Can I be that guy that is the backup / competition for that guy, right? Like if he plays really well, do the Jets go, okay, we'll bring back White and we move off Zach? If he doesn't play well and Zach comes back, is Zach the competition guy? I think that's where he slots. But he's kind of in control of similar to the Jets. He's in control of his own destiny. If he plays really well, gets the Jets to the playoffs, he'll get paid more money. And, maybe he's the Jets quarterback of the future. I'm not ready to go there yet. But yeah, I think he's he's in a good situation. He's now put some really nice stuff on tape. I thought yesterday was his best game.
Oh yeah,
that and the Colts game. I know it was only the first quarter, but I actually thought were the better games. I know the Cincinnati game was the most fun, but it was more unexpected. He still turned the ball over a couple times. There was a lot of behind the line of scrimmage. He took some shots. He took some nice shots yesterday. The throw to Moore, the throw to Wilson. There were some nice tight window throws, and it wasn't all. It was a lot of getting guys opportunity for yak, but it wasn't all like screen passes, which I felt like against the Bengals. I apologize. Yeah, but it's monsoon. Bears aren't good. All that stuff. So to answer your question, I don't know contract wise what he'll get. I think it really depends on the next 6 weeks, but I would say I'm sure it'll be somewhere in the Brissett, as I mentioned, Brissett, Heineke, that type of guy where can go in and start games. He's proven that already. That's fine, but I don't know if a team will view him as a starter. Maybe. Look, there's maybe a scenario. If you're the Jets, you kind of hope that Mike White does really well, and you can tag and trade Mike White, and you trade Zach Wilson. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the plan is. All I know is whoever plays quarterback is going to have to get them to the playoffs, because I think at this point it'd be a pretty big disappointment if they don't get in.
100%. Yeah, I was kind of digging around some of the numbers. I think I said it probably in our mailbag piece, I think that dropped earlier, that I believe it's going to be, again, it obviously depends on how these games go, but somewhere in that, 16 to 20 range in quarterbacks in terms of highest paid. That's Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Mitchell Trubisky, hovering in between 10 and 15 million per year. But again, we will see. Maybe it's even smaller than that. I've seen a lot of these questions coming in. John Hepburn, welcome to the show. They will not. There is no week of flex happening here. It's 2 weeks out, and they already made that decision. So it will not be. But I will tell you here, Will, the old Vegas people like Mike White. The Vikings are a mere 3-point favorite at home, which equates to a neutral field pick'em between the New York Jets at 7-4 and the 9-2 Minnesota Vikings. A lot of fans believe they match up very well against one another, and that this is not just a game that the Jets will get steamrolled. Obviously, Vegas doesn't think so either. Giving us an early look here on a Monday, looking ahead to that Vikings game. Are you licking your chops a little? Is that an opportunity that some people have written off, but maybe shouldn't?
Yeah, I think the Jets should try to be very capable of splitting these next two. Look, the Jets are in an interesting spot. It's how we see Mike there. The Vikings are, I think, 8-0 in one-score games. They've got arguably the best receiver in football.
Yeah,
they've got another really good wide receiver 1B. They've got a really good backfield. Kirk has played reasonably well pretty much every week.
TJ Hawkinson,
TJ Hawkinson. They've got a really talented defense at certain spots, or big names, I should say. Harrison Smith, Patrick Peterson, Zadarius Smith, Danielle Hunter. Eric Hendricks, I guess, as well.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing for the Vikings is we've seen them multiple times this year against physical defenses that get pressure with 4, against the Eagles and the Cowboys, get absolutely steamrolled. And guys with good corners that can take somewhat away and force Kirk into some really bad decisions. This game's at home. Minnesota plays better at home. It's not a primetime game, so there's no Kirk primetime stuff, although he played well, generally speaking, against the Pats. Vikings are the worst defense or second worst defense in football, and the worst pass defense. I think they get up the 4th highest yards per throw, yards per attempt, and the 2nd highest either completion percentage or something of that nature. They're not good defensively. They turn you over. You saw that in the Bills game and other games. They can turn you over, and they can get pressure with Smith and Hunter. The Jets do it similar to what they did on offense on Sunday. They take care of the football. They're able to make those guys get out in space and make plays. They should be able to take care of business on offense and put up enough points to win. Defensively, Christian Darrisaw doesn't play. Expect a big game out of the Jets defensive line. I'm hopeful Sheldon Rankins will play this week for the Jets. The pass rush is just better with him out there, with him next to Quinnen. You just feel it early in downs. Shepard's filled in nice. Solomon Thomas actually made a nice play yesterday. Clemens has obviously been a really good player, but Rankins, when he's in there, he's had a really quietly nice season, and he capitalizes better than most when Quinnen gets double teamed and stuff. Carl Lawson's been a little quiet, I felt like, the last week or two. I know he had some nice plays, but I feel like maybe he has a big game coming up here. He's due for one of those sack and a half, forced fumble type of games. It feels like Bryce Huff. So, and the Jets have the corners that can at least contain these guys. I think I said this earlier on my pod. I think the Jets, and this is me, I'm obviously not a coach, and anything like that. It's I don't know. I think you take away Thielen, Hawkinson, and Cook, and say if Justin Jefferson single-handedly beats Sauce and Reed, you live with it, right? You're best on their best, then you live with it. You just don't want to be able to be like, we shut down Jefferson, but then Thielen, Cook, and all these guys beat us. Probably can force Kirk to one or two good throws, to one or two bad throws, obviously. And then if you're the Jets, offense again, try to get up as many points, run the football well. I think you should feel confident going into this game, but I don't, not overconfident, but this is not a 9-2 juggernaut Patriots team with Tom Brady leading it. It's a good football team that's won a lot of close games with some talent on it.
And let's go to another big game. So the Jets have the Vikings on the road this week. Next week, they're on the road to play Buffalo for that rematch. Speaking of Buffalo, they have a massive game on Thursday Night Football. I know Thursday Night Football for some fans have been a little bit questionable with some of the teams. Well, we got New England at 6-5, Buffalo at 8-3. What should Jet fans be rooting for here, Will? Because, of course, New England has the tiebreaker against the Jets, but some Jet fans still have that belief. Again, they're technically only a game out of the division lead with Dolphins and Bills both at 8-3, and the Jets have games against the Dolphins and Bills before the season is over. Who's the rooting interest? Bills try to squash New England and hopefully get them out of the mix completely, and that's one less team chasing up your rear for the wild card. Or New England winning all of a sudden brings Buffalo back closer to earth and more cushion potential for the division. Where are you leaning here on rooting interest for Jet fans?
Yeah, so I would say rooting interest-wise, I think it should be pretty clearly the Patriots. And my reasoning is this.
Okay.
The Jets are most likely, as of now, a team that's competing with Cincy, Cincy, Baltimore, whoever finishes second there.
Correct.
The Chargers, Patriots, and one of the Bills and Dolphins.
Right.
And then I'm forgetting a team right now. I'm not sure. It's
I
think
that's it.
I think that's it. So it's like 5 teams for 3 spots, I think, essentially. Really 6 teams for 4 spots if you include the AFC East.
Right.
The Jets have beaten Miami. They've beaten Buffalo, and they get a chance to play both again. So at worst, they'll split the tiebreaker, and then I think it moves the conference record and things
Correct.
of that nature. But for right now, they have the tiebreaker of those other 2. They do not over the Patriots. The Patriots have the tiebreaker and very easily could also end up with a better conference record in the long run, right? If they don't, because they lost to the Bears and things like that. So you have to stay ahead of those teams you don't have a tiebreaker with. That's why if you're a Jets fan, yesterday was disappointing. Watching Arizona and Tennessee feel like they let games go, because you'd feel really good going into this game knowing we have a little bit of leeway. Again, if you win on against Minnesota on Sunday, you could overtake Buffalo just with beating them.
Right.
And they play the Patriots twice, so kind of ideal world, I guess, Buffalo and the Pats split. But yeah, I think you root for the Patriots, this week, and then you go take care of business against Buffalo, or try to at least the week, going forward. But you want as many teams out of the that kind of that 7 spot as possible. And obviously the Jets are aspirations right now should be the division, and I get why. They're only a game out or half game out, I guess. But for right now, I think you root against the Patriots if you're a Jets fan. I think you're rooting heavily against Cincinnati and Cincinnati and Baltimore, I guess, combined. Doesn't really matter, but which one you root against, you kind of just need one of those guys out of there. Again, you don't have the tiebreaker over either, and you're rooting against the Chargers. Miami's got a tough game on Sunday too, so I guess theoretically speaking, if you want to dream, you hope that San Francisco beats Miami, New England beats Buffalo, and the Jets win, and then the Jets are in first place. But again, the only thing I would caveat that with is, as far as the Patriots' schedule is, you kind of need them out of there, because they have the head-to-head and could have the conference. It's like you just don't want to deal with that. So
correct.
I'd say root for the Patriots for this week, and then maybe down the line you root for the Bills to lose, or you just take care of business yourself in a week's time.
By the way, gross on the rooting for New England, but I understand where you're coming from, Will Parkinson. That's why they pay the big bucks, and also why you should be following him on Twitter, obviously, at WillPa11. Make sure you're doing that. I have to ask the question. It was asked in my mailbag to me, from my partner in crime at Heavy on Jets for the Heavy on Sports platform. If Zach Wilson played on Sunday, would he have tore up the Chicago Bears?
Probably would have played well. I don't know if he would have been as efficient and things like that. And I think, I don't know. I went back and forth. I was like, okay, cool. Yes. So if Zach plays and does really well, that's great. But it's almost, was it worth it what if he goes in the conditions, doesn't play well at all, and And then all of a sudden everyone goes, oh, you didn't do good against the Bears. And then it's like, get this guy out of here. And now you can't go back to him. Now he's totally cooked.
Yeah, right.
You know
That's
what
true.
I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then the locker room is totally fragmented. I just think they needed to do something. And yeah, I think Zach probably could have played well. I don't know if he would have been quite as efficient. And there was just a few throws that Mike White right now makes better than Zach Wilson. And Zach's super talented. I think he's a good kid. I think, maybe he figures it out. But right now, Mike White's the best player to kind of quarterback the Jets. And, and I think you got to go from there, especially with the tough weather coming up and stuff. Zach seemed to be a little frazzled by that. His comments against New England monsoon yesterday. You already know Buffalo is going to be a disgusting mess of weather in 2 weeks. It's just the way it works.
100%. By the way, I want to give a random shout out here. Ari, who has been sharing some of the analytical details on the Pro Bowl votes, which, by the way, have been on for the last couple of weeks here. Sauce Gardner, a leading Pro Bowl getter, which, by the way, is not surprising in any way. He's very popular and obviously playing exceptionally well. It's right now in the AFC, NFC, the top corners that are getting the most votes are both rookies, Tariq Woolen and Sauce Gardner. What about that for Pro Bowl votes? That's pretty impressive.
No, the Seahawks fans are doing good. I think Geno's leading as well, so they're out there
That's
voting.
correct.
Jets fans got to keep voting, man. Quinn's in second. You got to bump him up there.
Yeah, 100%. He needs more love too. Yeah, that is weird. I'm going to be honest. Seeing leading Pro Bowl vote getters for quarterback, AFC Patrick Mahomes, NFC Geno Smith. Yes, Geno Smith. By the way, what do we get? Geno Smith, Sam Darnold revenge game coming up here.
Sam was pretty good yesterday.
He did.
What's nice? I was happy for Sam because
I love Sam.
Happy. He made a couple really impressive throws yesterday. They beat Russell Wilson, who everyone knows I have beef with. Yeah. And the best part is the Jets played well, so no one cared, and there was no, they shouldn't have traded Sam. You could just be happy for him because you know that, like, hey, cool, Sam did good. Geno's doing well. Like, as long as the Jets are doing good, all those other guys can do well. It's when they're not, the Jets are doing bad, and then everyone makes fun of them is the problem.
100%. So no strings attached rooting is always the best. Let me throw another one, a Zach Wilson one. This was another comment. Again, I'll be tweeting this one out after we're done with our show. So I have it saved in the drafts here. But Robert Saleh said on the Zach Wilson thing is that he needs to check a couple of boxes. In terms of sending Zach Wilson off to kind of like this private island while they're doing their own thing, he said it's not that Zach Wilson is doing that necessarily. He called it a, quote, all hands on deck with the offensive people trying to figure out the fundamental issues that Zach Wilson is going through. And he said before they bring him back in, they want him to check this ominous list. He didn't tell us obviously what's on the list, but check these things off the bucket list essentially, and then he could be back in. First off, what do you think those things that he's talking about are, if we are to guess? And also, is it realistic to fix those things in the middle of a season? Because I know Connor talked about it on Badlands maybe a week or two ago about the issues he saw, and this is before we had any QB drama, was that that's a summer thing that you got to fix. So with that being said, is that a thing that maybe, okay, Zach Wilson fully commits that in the offseason, maybe he is in that competition for whoever is also in the room? Or is it on the other side that, yeah, if he just focuses and the Jets coaches get on him, he could definitely change this within a couple of weeks? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there was, the clip got leaked. Not leaked, the clip was out there. Anyone could have found it. But Rappaport reported even, they showed the play where he didn't even know the play. And I think Zach needed a mental reset, but I also think there is some mechanical stuff that's off. If you have the yips, I don't know that just gets fixed in a 2 to 3 week stretch in the middle of the season. As the third quarterback, Zach's not taking any reps during the week. He's run the scout team. He's working with the Jets flight crew or whatever the practice squad and third string guys are doing. It's just I feel like Zach continues. He will need reps to kind of fix this stuff. And yes, he can master the playbook again and figure it out and all these different things. That's all fair. I just don't know when that's going to happen, right now. And again, I just have a hard time believing that maybe he will and Mike White won't play well the next 2 weeks. But if Mike White plays even decently in these games, I just don't know how you go back to Zach right now, especially the way the team responded, the way the offense looked. Clearly, Mike LaFleur trusts Mike White and doesn't trust Zach Wilson if you look at some of the play calling. And I guess it's hard to blame him. So, yeah, I don't know. Obviously we don't know the exact details of what this list looks like, but I assume it's stuff with footwork. It's stuff with playbook because it was just a lot was going wrong, it felt like. And, I know Brian Costello mentioned it. I do think the scenario where you definitely see Zach again is if, look, they lose 3 in a row or 4 in a row here, and there's a couple weeks left, and they're out of it, or whatever it would be, whatever. If they're 8-8 and like there's no real chance of making the playoffs, yeah, or you go see Zach for sure because obviously you want to get something out of him. But right now, like you're only damaging Zach's value and his confidence more if you play him right now. It feels like, and the team's responding around Mike White. So I just ride the hot hand, go make the playoffs, and then you kind of answer the questions about QB in the offseason. But the Jets aren't. They tried kind of developing a quarterback while competing at the same time, and right now it's just not working. And they can't. It's hard for a franchise that needs to make the playoffs to get that off their back and be able to kind of move forward as a franchise. You can't not capitalize on it there. So I know a lot of people want to see Zach. Some people are out on him. Some people aren't. I think you do what's best for the team right now, and you reevaluate, week by week. So I understand why Saleh's doing what he's doing.
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 1. What's that ceiling look like? I heard Connor Hughes apparently on the Geico Sports Night show. He said he's, the projection is like Cooper Kupp, but like more potential or more ceiling, something to that effect. I'm probably butchering the quote, but comparing him to a better looking Cooper Kupp eventually. Like, well, man, Garrett Wilson looked pretty good yesterday.
Yeah. The Cooper Kupp thing was a little confusing because it's like, I get the concept. I think it's like how they're going to deploy him and different things.
Right.
Cooper Kupp's got like 200 catches and 2,500 yards, like 30
yeah,
touchdowns
right.
the last 20 games. So I don't want to put that expectation on him. He's like literally the most productive receiver in football the last 18 months or so.
Sure.
Yeah, no, but I get it. Being able to have Garrett Wilson play multiple different spots, different roles. They get him, those jet sweeps and things, running different routes, being efficient. He's awesome. He's been awesome all year. He's done a lot. Him and Elijah Moore have looked a lot better with other quarterbacks in there. I don't know if that's all Zach's fault or anything like that. It's just the offense has looked different. They've thrived more and things like that. The stats are very different. So, Garrett Wilson's a stud. I think he is their wide receiver 1, quote unquote. But this offense, what's nice is that, you look at San Francisco and these other places, even for the Rams for a while, is, you can have 3, 4, 5 guys, get theirs and be okay. Garrett Wilson, he's got a chance to get to 1,000 yards, which would be awesome. That would be, I think he needs what? He's like at 600 something. So
yes, yeah.
Over the next, maybe he gets it in the next 2 games. I don't know, but
okay.
He's been awesome. And at the end of the day, the Jets have a lot of talent. I think Connor mentioned it as well that, they want this to look like the 49ers offense. Well, look at the 49ers offense. A lot of guys, the Kittles, Debo, McCaffrey, Ayuk, that, different style profiles guys, but they can all go make plays after the catch. And, the Jets have that a little bit right now. I saw Elijah make plays with the ball in his hands. Brax always does. Corey Davis, that bigger body, him and Mims, but, go up and get it and, box the guy out. Garrett Wilson's kind of been able to do a little bit of both. You got the tight ends, the running backs. The running backs is obviously a little bit of a question mark, but
right.
Look, they have a lot of weapons on this offense. Can they just get those guys the ball efficiently and keep it moving?
By the way, yes, you mentioned the return of the king himself, Elijah Moore, 2 catches, 64 yards. He got the first touchdown since December 5th of last season. So that's kind of crazy. Also, the yardage production was the best he's had since, I think it was Pittsburgh in week 4. So again, a massive gaps here for Elijah Moore. What did you make of his return? Again, is that directly Mike White correlated? And the second part is, what did you make of his post-game comments? Kissing the football, loving the football. People were saying Antonio Brown vibes with what was happening there. And I thought he was joking, but he never laughed. So I was like, maybe not from Elijah. Or perhaps Odell Beckham Jr. and his relationship with the kicking net. It was a little odd, but kind of, I guess, whatever works to, get productive Elijah Moore, I suppose.
Yeah, Elijah said a lot of stuff yesterday.
Yeah. Don't weather the storm.
Yeah, you are the storm, and
yeah,
he was making love to the football, and this is the real New York Jets, and a lot of stuff about. But it was a lot. But at the end of the day, he certainly likes playing. He certainly likes playing receiver with other quarterbacks opposed to Zach, based on his first 2 years here. Although he did have a nice game against Philly last year with Zach as quarterback. I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't been able to find the chemistry. I guess they've hoped they've needed to, and things like that. And obviously, there's some turmoil. Give Robert Saleh a lot of credit, man. And Joe Douglas and his staff. They've had 2 guys request trades this year in camp, and bigger name guys, and that would break a lot of teams. both guys are back and producing and fired up and exciting players right now. So you got to be happy for them. I'm happy for Elijah. He's able to break out, maybe get some confidence going, build some chemistry, get the vibes right. But what do I make of his press conference? It was quite a lot of stuff going on there, to be fair.
There was. And let me ask you about that very thought. So the Jets are 7-4. They had 2 players request trades, a quarterback controversy in the middle of the season. They've been absolutely annihilated by injuries. Lost their best offensive lineman, Elijah Tucker. Lost Breece Hall, who was the shoe-in offensive rookie of the year. I mean, they were and then obviously all the offensive tackle musical chairs just in general of different guys being on injured reserve at one point or another. Dwayne Brown, George Fant, Max Mitchell, Mekhi Becton, obviously, among others. Is this the coaching staff? Is this Joe Douglas? Is this everybody? Like, man, you're right. Any one of those things could have crippled the team. The Jets are thriving. The Jets are in the playoffs right now if the season ended.
Yeah. You got to give them a lot of credit. Everyone deserves credit. The staff's grown a lot in the last 12 months. We talked about with Saleh and the way he's grown as just kind of a communicator in terms of even the media stuff. I mean, obviously the defense is working. They went from the 32nd ranked defense to, their top 5 by any metric. Yes, the blemish right now is the quarterback, and that's all fair. And, the offensive line and stuff, they lost multiple tackles, multiple guards, centers, not centers yet, but they've lost all these different guys. They've patched it together, made it work. They lost their best offensive, weapon in Breece Hall. They're still winning. They lost their best offensive lineman, Elijah Tucker. They're still winning. They have a brand new secondary, pretty much all 4 new starters. They figured it out, and they're now an elite secondary. You know what I mean? It's just they lose one of the starting defensive tackles, fill right in and keep it moving. They haven't given up a fourth quarter touchdown in what feels like forever, all these different things. So, yes, other than the quarterback right now, everything kind of feels like it's in place. There's pretty clear needs or not needs. They need to give Zach more time to develop. I see a lot of people that are still very upset for some reason that Mike did good because it means Zach didn't play. Zach will be okay. He'll figure it out. And if he does figure it out, that's great. And if he doesn't, then he's not the right guy and you move on. You can't – sometimes it's hard to develop quarterbacks, not exact science. And right now the Jets are just doing what's best for the team in order to try to catch and try to win. We'll see what happens. Zach's super talented. But other than that, I think Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh should definitely be in conversation for coach and executive of the year, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I to be honest, I'm kind of surprised, and my good buddy Jay Croucher will have him on the show probably either this week or next week over there from NBC, doing all the great stuff with Connor Rogers and Matthew Barrett and everybody else. Hey, he's been on the Coach of the Year thing for a while. Again, the New York thing, the Jets haven't won in forever, that he should be getting a little bit more love than he has. I think he's still plus 1,400, plus 1,000 at some of the betting markets. So again, get it if you can there. I do want to go back to Sauce for a second. I'm going to throw this on the screen from Connor Rogers, who tweeted this out this morning. Quote, "It's funny that Sauce is already at the point of when he allows a 15-plus yard catch, it's a wannabe viral clip. Probably speaks to just how good he's been as a rookie," end quote. Originally, earlier today, Sauce quote tweeted that and said, "It's crazy. I love being, compared to a 15-year pro. It's great." He later deleted that tweet, so I don't know what Sauce sometimes doing those kind of things with his tweets. But nonetheless, it is kind of crazy. So Sauce ended up giving up 1 catch for 30 yards to Chase. It's raining. He kind of dragged all over him, but that's the only thing he gave up. And people were like, aha, Sauce sucks. And it feels like people have kind of been on the edge of that for a while, Will, when we're talking about this. So it looks like, that we've reached the level of Sauce is so good that people are really stretching to find these clips and try to prove kind of his GOAT status, essentially. It's been kind of wild.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to plug my computer.
No, that's okay. Yeah. But
no, look, I don't get the Sauce stuff where I get it. Oh, I get it. It's what's great for the Jets and what's great for Sauce is not only is he getting respect around the league where, people are freaking out when he gives up a little bit of a catch. He's getting calls, that first time they tested Sauce on a fade route, I was like, pretty lucky that he got away with that. This is what happens, guys. You get built up. Now everyone wants to tear you down. Look at Jalen Ramsey's name every single time he gives up a single catch. He's getting torched today. He gave up a catch to Travis Kelce, who might be the best tight end ever.
Yeah,
Ooh,
right.
What a loser.
Right.
So you have to just look at it from the perspective of, look, I don't know why Sauce deleted it. I think it was a perfectly reasonable tweet.
Yeah, I thought so too. That was odd. Yeah,
I get the accidentally liking tweets one, which was still hilarious.
that was funny. Yeah, JFM Sauce.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
Everyone keeps doing the same thing. It's all accidental though, just like in
Yeah.
whatever. But no, I think honestly, Sauce has been fantastic. He's also started to tackle a lot better. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
He's been pretty physical in the run game. I know. I guess the first Miami game, as good as he was, his PFF grade wasn't good because he missed a few tackles or something. He's been really good tackling as well. So, yeah, like Sauce is getting that superstar veteran treatment, both calls and the way people react to him. It's a good thing. You should want that pressure, and now people aren't surprised when he does well, and that's pretty impressive for him. Garrett Wilson's getting a little bit today. I saw Bears people tweeting about, the only reason he scored was because Eddie Jackson got hurt.
What a stupid take.
He would have only had 5 for 60. Well, 5 for 60 as a rookie is pretty good. 5 for 60 and a touchdown, I'll take that all. You average that out over a year, you're having a pretty good, solid season.
Yeah, and also, here's another one. The Jets would be undefeated if they scored more points than their opponents. Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks for the take. Yeah, what a stupid thing to say. I saw that.
Agreed. That got me. I was like, what are we doing here, guys? This is just like annoying to say the least.
It's grasping. It's clearly grasping for straws. We'll only be here for a few more minutes here with Will Parkinson, our Jets guy, TOJ podcast. Also, he'll set us up for what's coming this week. I just want to ask you this, Will, on Mike White. Who's the real Mike White? Because we saw the Bengals game last year, and that got fans razzed up, and also a very different because his yards per completion was something 4 or 5 or 6. Like this time it was over 11. Like he was taking chunk plays. The intermediate and deep passing game was really firing on all cylinders for Mike. So who is the real guy? What does your gut say? Minnesota is not this impossible defense. They're not the purple people eaters of 40 years ago. Like actually, even the Vikings defense, if he lights them up a little bit, some of the analytics say actually he should be able to do so. Buffalo obviously would be a really good challenge in 2 weeks, but who is the real Mike White? Is he really as good as he showed in the Bears game? Was he from the Bengals game where he could take the checkdowns? What about the Buffalo implosion last year? Where is the real Mike White ultimately, do you think?
This one's tough because it is really hard to tell.
Right.
Like that. If you go back and watch the Jets-Bills game last year, first of all, the talent is way different on this Jets team.
All over the place, yeah.
That Bills team was a juggernaut a little bit. And obviously, they're still really good. It's just a little bit different now. Von Miller and guys like that are out.
Right, he will not be there for the Jets game.
Yeah, and then just it's hard. And you look at that game was 10-3. Corey Davis fumbles, and the Jets are about to go in a score. Not that they would have won. But, all of a sudden it got ugly quick. I thought Mike White was the best he's looked Sunday. I thought his eyes were good. His feet were good. He was super accurate. He pushed the ball when he needed to. There's not much you could really pick a hole in. He had the one bad throw rolling out. He should have just ate it with Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Jackson could have picked that off, but it happens. I think he's somewhere in the middle. I think, he's a career in the 4 starts. He's like a 70% completion guy, puts up a bunch of yards, gets guys get out, in the open. Maybe he's a lesser version of Jimmy. He is obviously, but maybe he runs the offense at a higher clip than like what Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard and those guys did in San Francisco a couple of years ago. Maybe he's a better version of that. I don't know we'll see over the next couple of weeks. I don't think he's anywhere near as bad as he was against the Bills. That said, he needs to take care of the football. That's one of the biggest pluses, him being accurate and taking care of the ball. He didn't take care of the ball well last year, but another year in the system, way better talent, not as much pressure on the quarterback. I think that's, I think that's a good thing. So I don't know if he's going to be 22 or 28 every week,
right.
But maybe he's a guy that every week you count on him for 65, 70% completion, touchdown or 2, maybe an interception, 230, 240 yards. Kind of what I was asking from Zach.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty much exactly what I wanted to see from Zach this year to go, okay, you'll get a year 3. If Mike White does that, the Jets are probably in a good spot. And, again, the Colts game, he looks pretty good. I think to start that game, he gets hurt. And who knows if he was actually healthy, against the Bills. I have no idea. So, and there was all that pressure. He was not really the starter, obviously. This is different. I think this team's really good and they know it. And, I'm not a QB wins guy because Zach, obviously Zach's record was good, but, try to steal one of these 2 games and you feel really good about the Jets being, 10-5, I guess, entering the Seattle and Miami games.
All right. One last question, then we'll get your prediction before we get you out of here. The question is on the running back thing. James Robinson, a healthy scratch. Was that Joe Douglas saying, hey, I could kind of save some picks here? Because, again, the conditional element of it is if he gets a certain amount of rushing yards, that they'll have to go by 5th instead of a 6th. Is it that, or quite frankly, the Jets just saying, hey, actually, our scouting was pretty good. Donovan Knight should have been drafted. Bam. And, he's pretty good. We got an opportunity here. Let's throw him in here. And is that long-standing? Is this kind of a one-week thing with James Robinson being a scratch? Obviously, the Carter injury news, he has a sprain. It's a low ankle sprain from what we hear, so he still has a chance for the Vikings game. But what do you make of the Zonovan, Bam, Knight, James Robinson decision over the weekend and moving forward?
I liked it. I think it worked. Robinson,
Sure.
Obviously, when they traded for him, he's coming off the Achilles, I believe, he's coming off the Achilles. The knee was bothering him a little bit. We had some juice in the Bills game. The rest of the games didn't look great. I think they try to change it up, see where we can we improve here? Can we improve there? Knight gets super vertical. He makes guys miss. He wants to run people over and all this stuff. He looked good yesterday. Ty Johnson had a couple of nice runs.
Yeah, Ty Johnson.
Guy, he'll be a Jet forever.
Yes.
And then, if you'll see what happens with Carter and Robinson this week. I think obviously Robinson will go if Carter's out. Maybe you hold him out this week and you hope you get him back for Buffalo or something like that. In Carter's case, it seems like from Jeremy Fowler's reporting and a few others from Saleh stuff that it's not serious. He looked like he was limping off yesterday. If you're at the game, you could see him limping off. He was more of like a just happened limp, not like a wow, I need to get carted off. Sometimes that happens with sprained ankles. It's like Quincy Williams got carted off early in the year. I think he missed 2 weeks. Jermaine Johnson missed 3, I believe. So we'll see with Carter. But I don't hate what they did. I think they were looking for a spark, and Knight gave him that. Mike White did as well. And they need guys that are going to be physical and run hard late in games. And you've certainly seen that with Knight last game. He got better and better as the game went on.
Well, let's finish this up here with an early prediction. Jets, Vikings. Again, 9-2, Minnesota Vikings. They have the second best record in all of football, only behind the Philadelphia Eagles. They will be at home. Again, the Vikings are only, and I say only, a 3-point favorite. The Jets or Vegas, rather, really likes this Mike White Jets team coming in. What do you make of it? What's your prediction? How do you think this one plays out?
Early in the week, I'll go 28-24, the Jets win.
Oh, baby. And talk about that.
I hate picking them because I feel like I don't ever want to.
You've been opposite on my radio show. That's correct.
I always do. I go opposite on your radio show, but I did on your show. I've gotten some of them right. I botched the New England game. I didn't realize Zach Wilson's brain would explode. And they would have won that game by 20 if they had competent quarterbacks, quite clearly.
Yeah, Mike White in there. Yeah, you would be 9-2 right now? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. Or 10-1 with whatever. Or no, 10-2, whatever it would be. But look, I think it'll be a game where Justin Jefferson will probably get someone once. Let's be real here.
Yeah, of course.
I think if you limit the turnovers, you score some points. It would be nice to get a defensive or special teams touchdown.
I know.
I think that it just puts you in such a better spot. Puts you so, you go back to that Packers game and things like that. You just felt so good about that game, knowing the offense at the time was struggling, and all of a sudden they got that touchdown and kind of sparked them. I'll go Jets win in a close one, 8-4, probably against the 9-3 Bills, competing for potentially first place in the or the 5 seed or first place, whatever it is.
Right, whatever it will be.
I do not want that game flexed, by the way, at all.
Which one is that? Jets Bills?
I do not want that flexed.
Okay.
I would love Seattle Jets to be flexed.
I would absolutely.
I wouldn't mind the Miami game to be flexed.
That's TBD. So that one is a potential flex already on the table.
I would have loved this game to be flexed. I'm not sure.
Yes.
This game, there's a lot of this is the best week of us, games.
Oh, you tweeted it out, and I used it on a radio show today.
Dude,
it's on the games.
There's like very 7 games. I think like every playoff team is like basically playing another playoff team.
It's fantastic.
And then we get Cowboys Colts because they want to talk about Jeff Saturday for 4 hours.
Weird. Yeah.
But look, I think the only reason I said about that Bills game is not being flexed is this.
Yeah.
The Jets have not been on Sunday Night Football in literally 11 years.
Yeah, I love Sunday Night Football. It's my favorite one.
The Jets are finally starting to put it together.
I see what you're saying.
They're going to finally give them a Sunday Night Football game, and they're going to give them the hardest game left on their schedule. It's like, it just feels like to me, maybe, look, I mean, you could go the other way and say, look, if they flex that game and the Jets go up and beat Buffalo, out of respect, they're going to get league-wide. But Buffalo at night is a really tough place to play.
In Buffalo.
And I'm just thinking from an optics perspective. I would love the Jets to get maybe the Jaguars game on prime time out first and win that game so people don't crush them if they lose. Because then they're going to go, oh, the Jets stink. And it's like, well, they're 8-4. They're not, or at that point, they're very good.
Whatever they are, right, yes.
But, look, I think that Buffalo game's winnable as well. I
agree. You already beat them once. I mean,
the storyline would be fun. Seattle's defense is awful, so it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, Geno.
Geno against Geno, Mike White, and
spectacular.
But I think the Jets take care of business this week, and I feel pretty good about that.
Well, of course, we got to give you the platform. You do spectacular stuff, not only just joining our channel out of your own free time, and again, super generous as always, but your own show. Everyone should, of course, check out what you got going on for the Turn On Jets podcast and anything else for that matter. I see a couple of sneaks and peeks on Badlands, of course. Will Parkinson with the nice flex job over there. So, Will, what is on the slate for this week?
This week, pod came out earlier today. Just me kind of breaking down, what happened yesterday, just kind of instant reactions. Midweek, likely, it'll be either middle of the week or later in the week. Connor Hughes will be on talking a little bit, just kind of what's kind of going on quarterback wise, and things like that. Likely Wednesday, if not Thursday, and then I'll have one or two people from the Vikings beat on later in the week that'll come on. We'll talk a little bit of Vikings. Their improbable 9-2 star, Kevin O'Connell, the whole 9 yards, and get a full preview and everything like that. Subscribe, rate, review. You like it, want stuff to keep being on the channel. Always free some suggestions. But I appreciate coming on as always.
All right, beautiful. Thanks a lot, Will. Have a great one, man.
Thanks, man. Take care.
There he is. Will Parkinson, our Jets insider. Again, you can check him out. He is the host of the TOJ podcast. In wrapping, everybody, again, every Monday, you guys tune into the show live or even after the fact. I know some of you guys can't catch us live. I just want to say I appreciate the heck out of all the support we got. The post-game shows have been great on Sundays. This show has been spectacular, and some of our Behind Enemy lines have been great as well. A free way you guys can support the show right now is liking the video and hitting subscribe down below. That is a free way that each and every one of you that are watching right now can support this channel and allow it to grow even further. And it's a Victory Monday, baby. Let's spread the good vibes, baby. So feel free to do that. If you'd like, you can also dig into your pocket for YouTube Super Chats, whether live or after the fact. We always appreciate that as well. I'll try to give everyone a shout out there as well. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And one other shout out, of course, check out our sponsor details down below. My good buddy Roshan Joshi, who is a fellow New York Jets fan. He's got a spectacular business. And the same way that you could support my show is you could support him by checking out the free invite sign up. It's about basically, people learning about buying homes and real estate and investing and things of that nature. And it's free. He does a free weekly Zoom call for you guys to learn more information about all that stuff. And again, that is free. So if you want to support our show, that's another great way to do it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We got Jets Vikings this week. A lot of juicy, great breakdowns to come, and I hope you guys all enjoy it. We'll see you next time. Peace out, baby.